Like many of you, I put money to work on a weekly basis trying to get my portfolio to grow and grow over time by investing in companies that I believe will be the future. So unfortunately, the 4 stocks I'm going to take a closer look at today do have some form of short-term bearish sentiment towards them due to numerous macroeconomics happening around the world. But like many of you, I do have that long-term mentality. So even though I don't believe in the short term they might be the best investments, I do believe in the long term of things. In multiple years, these are investments that could help my portfolio grow dramatically over time. And I think that's the greatest advantage we have as long-term investors, is we can kind of ignore a lot of the short-term noise to kind of look at the bigger picture of things. So for each stock, we're going to take a quick look at some of their bearish thesis and some of their long-term bullish points. If this is your first time here, make sure to hit the thumbs up. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. Check out the pinned comment for a lot of great links and also my tech channel. So let's get started.
I do want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video, and make sure to check out fool.com/Jose to get the top 10 stocks to buy right now.
All right, so the first company I want to take a closer look at is Meta Platform, sitting at about $170 right now with a market cap of $460 billion. We can see from its 52-week high, the stock is down about 55%. And for those not familiar with Meta Platforms, this is a company that makes its money mainly from advertisement. And most of the short-term bearish thesis for Meta Platforms is that macroeconomics happening at the moment. For example, in the first quarter, they didn't grow revenue too much due to numerous reasons. First, the slowdown of advertising at the moment. For example, if companies are spending a lot more money maybe on cost of goods, or if they're seeing a slow in demand due to consumer spending decreasing, obviously they're going to spend a little bit less money on advertisement. Then you have a lot of competition entering the market like TikTok, and the disturbance that the Apple iOS has kind of caused for their advertising revenue has really kind of slowed them down a bit in the moment. Finally, I am bullish on their push to augmented reality and virtual reality, but unfortunately there are some investors that might not like that move, and completely understandable. The reasons why I'm bullish for this company might not be necessarily the reasons you are bullish. So one of that bullish points is the growth of Facebook, and this is something that I always hear the opposite. I always hear people complain that Facebook, no one uses it and it's a dead platform. But we can see quarter over quarter, Facebook monthly active users have grown, and not only in international regions, they are also growing in the United States and Canada. Not only that, if you include all their other apps, family monthly active people, that has also grown quarter over quarter. So it does seem like the eyes are still in Meta's kind of platforms like Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, and so on, which is great news for the advertising business. If I was a company, I would like to advertise where the eyes are at, and at the moment, that's Facebook. The other bullish point that I have for Facebook is Mark Zuckerberg has mentioned that a lot of their investments is actually going to artificial intelligence, and not what we're hearing here in the market where, hey, Facebook is spending dramatic amount of money on virtual reality and augmented reality. No, a good portion of that money is going to artificial intelligence, which is going to help the company not just in recommendation system for short form video, but also create a form of discovery engine in everything from pictures, text, photos, short videos, long videos. And if they can kind of perfect this with AI, then this will increase the user experience. And with the increase of user experience, they're going to spend more time on their platform. More time on their platforms, it means more advertisements. More advertisement means more revenue. So they are definitely investing in increasing their platforms, which I think is bullish in the long term of things. Again, we saw that short-term pain. The second company I want to take a closer look at is Shopify, and we can see from its 52-week high, this is a stock that's down roughly 76%, almost 77%, and that is insane. Some of the kind of negativity with Shopify is, again, a lot of those short-term macroeconomic, consumer spending decreasing, inflation increasing, which is increasing the kind of cost of goods, and maybe less people are kind of creating a store right now because margins are a lot lower. Another bearish point on Shopify right now is this kind of growth in e-commerce. E-commerce grew dramatically during COVID times, rightfully so, and is kind of pulling back a little bit. I wonder if this is creating some form of bearish sentiment to investors that, hey, maybe e-commerce is not as important as it normally is. But I want to say on the bullish case, this is still kind of growing on a nice kind of normalizing rate, which I do believe is bullish for the overall e-commerce market. If we take a closer look, their most recent revenue, they grew about 22%, and they're growing in both merchant solutions and subscription solutions. For me, Shopify is what I call that toolbox investment, where it's not just one tool that they have for their customers. They have numerous tools which make them a more sticky business and a lot kind of harder for competitors to come and take in their space. Sure, they might kind of compete with Shopify in one market, but they can't compete with them in all of them. And we can see here Shopify provides numerous solutions for the e-commerce market. I personally have created a Shopify store to kind of see the process, and I can definitely say there's not a company out right now that provides all the tools that Shopify does. Another thing that I enjoy about Shopify is they are continuously investing in the future. One of their most recent acquisitions of Deliverr is increasing not only their fulfillment kind of solutions, but also logistics solutions. So I believe this kind of investment in the future is a great reason to be bullish on Shopify. And later on, we're going to take a closer look at some of the financials, and we're going to see financially all these companies are also in a very healthy space. Third company I want to take a closer look at is Roku, and this is a company sitting at $98 right now with a market cap of $13.4 billion. We can see from its 52-week high, the stock is down roughly 79.4%. I don't know about you, but a market cap of $13.4 billion on one of the biggest streaming platforms ever, to me, is super cheap. I could see a potential acquisition from numerous players at these kind of price points. And if I can, and to me, that creates a nice amount of kind of safety cushion. If I believe a company would gladly pay prices to buy Roku at these levels, why wouldn't I as an investor? So for those not familiar with Roku, this is a company that makes money two ways. First is platform revenue, forms of advertisements and other solutions for pretty much the kind of streaming market. So it doesn't matter who wins the streaming war, Roku is most likely going to be one of the main platforms out there. Then is their player revenue. This is a lot of hardware revenue. Again, we are seeing a lot of kind of negativity due to macroeconomics. Obviously, margins are dropping on their hardware due to increase of inflations and also maybe consumer spending decreasing. That's taking a hit. The other thing in the short term of things is, like I mentioned, companies are advertising a lot less. So there is a possibility that Roku could get hit. Regardless, the company did give a revenue outlook for quarter two of about a 25% growth in revenue. In my opinion, that's still pretty impressive. Some reasons to be bullish in Roku are the following. Active accounts are growing. They grew 14% year over year. Streaming hours are growing, grew 14% year over year. They're also up quarter over quarter. Average revenue per user is also up 34% year over year. And this is, again, another toolbox investment, in my opinion. Not only do they provide numerous solutions for us, the regular consumers, but some of their other customers are usually those big streaming companies that they provide numerous advertisements and analytics. So again, it makes it a very sticky business. The final company is going to be Qualcomm. And obviously, this can't be an episode without me talking about the semiconductor industry. So Qualcomm, ticker QCOM, sitting at $125 with a market cap of $140 billion. We can see from its 52-week high, the stock is down roughly 33.9%. But look, it also has a nice dividend yield of about 2.4% at the moment. So in form of bearish sentiments is, at the moment, many believe that Qualcomm does have a nice amount of consumer solutions in their kind of semiconductors, as a lot of their revenue comes from handset and mobile devices. So this is true, as maybe we are seeing a slowdown in sales in things like consumer electronics. Qualcomm can definitely take a hit. But this is a company that is expanding their kind of semiconductor solutions to the higher tier systems, which usually have higher margins. They're also kind of doing solutions for augmented reality, virtual reality, the 5G kind of transformation, automotive, and Internet of Things, which is a lot of robotics and a lot of smart home devices that we continue to see grow over time. So very bullish in that sentiment. Again, in the short term, could definitely see some pain. So now let's take a closer look at financials. And let me just say, 3 out of the 4 companies, which is going to be Meta Platforms, Shopify, and Roku, these 3 companies have more cash and short-term investments than debt. And that is super bullish during times like this. 4 out of the 4 companies all have, if you add their cash flow from operations and cash and short-term investments, have more than enough money to pay off their total debt. The other thing is 4 out of the 4 companies are positive in cash flow from operations, which all means bullish things to me. If we also kind of take a closer look, all 4 companies have grown revenue quarter over quarter, and they have seen some strength. Again, we might see a bit of weakness in the short term of things, but in the long term of things, they are bullish. Now, another final thing that I want to mention is gross profit margins quarterly. We can see they are all stable or at least increasing over time. None of them are dipping at the moment, which is another reason. And all of them, in my opinion, have some really high gross profit margins. Obviously, some a little bit more than others because they're a little bit more software based. So to me, these 4 companies companies are all sitting at attractive levels for a great long-term opportunity for me. So take care, have a good day, and see you next time.